Hey everybody, it's me, Will.
And me, Kristen.
We're back. We're doing another live episode of Guide to the Unknown.
That's right, we couldn't help ourselves.
Thank you so much for joining us.
I was so tired like an hour ago, I don't know what's happened.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, this show is energizing. That's
It is energizing.
Yeah, exactly. What else could you possibly need in your life?
That's true. I did have half a vitamin water. Maybe that got me going.
Maybe.
And a couple spoons of ice cream. Yeah.
Isn't vitamin water just soda?
Basically, yeah. It's like I don't remember if it actually has sugar in it. I think it has stevia.
Oh,
but
okay.
it's not vitamins. I'm under no delusion that like I gave myself a healthy thing.
It's so funny. I would rather drink soda than vitamin water. I think it's the ruse that I don't appreciate.
It's hydrating to me, or it's just that I associate it with hydration maybe or something.
Yeah.
So I've been feeling a little sick.
Oh,
Teeniest
no.
hints.
Oh, no.
And so I asked Ryan to get me a vitamin water today because maybe a placebo effect is in place, but it makes me feel like I'm doing something extra.
Sure, I get
Not
that.
vitamins, but electrolytes or something. I don't
I've
know.
literally had a headache since Sunday.
Yeah, I know. That really sucks.
And it hasn't stopped. And it's always there. I blame the Blair Witch.
Yeah, it could only be the Blair Witch.
I think I've been cursed by the Blair Witch.
Hopefully it'll go away soon.
Yeah, we'll
Hi,
see.
guys.
Hey, everybody. AKB, Sarah,
Yeah.
Tabitha, Tony, Miss Sweetie, and Mom.
And
Hello.
Mommy.
Hello, everybody. And Molly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Molly the dog.
Little
I think is
mushmeister.
being possibly a little bit needy. Yeah, what's going on, everyone?
Yeah.
How's your week going? And what have you been doing?
Yes.
Where have you been and what the hell's happening? We're going to get started in just a few minutes.
Okay.
We're going to take a couple
Yep.
seconds just to share the link and everything, as we always do.
Cool.
And then we'll dig right in.
Excellent. Megan, this is definitely one you're only listening to.
Here's why. I titled it Scary Clowns right away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. We're not going to, I don't think we're going to be able to put any scary clowns on the screen, so I wouldn't sweat that one.
No, I think you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay, let me do some stuff. I got to do some sharing because
Yeah.
Will's hands are full.
Yeah, for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll
Hold
put
on.
Molly down and she'll bark at her own face on the television. I've already, she's clocked herself. She's noticed that her face
She
is
knows?
on TV. She
Okay.
knows. Molly barks at animals on TV.
Yeah.
Tell me when I'm on.
Hey guys, Guide to the Unknown here. We're going to be going live. Well, actually, we are live right now doing this week's episode, and it's all about scary clowns. So here is a sweetie dog to even it out. Cleanse the palate before we dirty it with clowns. Okay.
Oh, Molly. Oh, Molly. Yeah, everybody, I would really appreciate if you would share the link to the show.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Be greatly appreciated. Obviously, I'm not doing anything at the moment, so I'm not helping the cause at all.
Ooh. Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah, no, I get that now that I know the context, Megan.
Okay.
Did this not
There you go.
do video? Okay, there we go.
You always have problems with Instagram.
Yeah,
It's complicated.
it's just kind of weird.
Mucho complicated.
It's sensitive.
It is sensitive. All right, I'm going to tell Guide to the
Molly
Unknown.
is perfect. You're absolutely right. I love Molly.
Couldn't agree more. I am shocked that she didn't run over to bark at her own face. Right?
Are you totally sure she saw herself?
I'm pretty sure she saw herself.
Maybe she's growing and changing.
Molly barks at any animal on television.
Yeah.
She
Hey,
will
Chrissy.
even bark at like candy bars and stuff if they even vaguely look animal.
Yeah, she barked at Charlie the Tuna once.
She barks at the Netflix logo.
Mm-hmm.
She barks at a lot of stuff.
She does.
Yeah.
She's a barky baby. But you know what else she is? A kissy baby.
Oh, man.
Molly is Will's dog. Man, you just missed her. She was just up here with us. And hi.
Hello.
She has gotten into the habit, not every single time. Hey, Luke. But
Luke.
a lot of the times that Crumbs and I come over, I think I told this already. I'll probably continue to tell it. She runs over and gives him a kiss. Like a literal kiss on his face. She runs up, gives him a quick lick, like a little hello. It is so insanely cute. It's really been a light.
It's very nice.
It really makes me so happy.
As you gear up for It Chapter 2.
Yeah, she's great to pet. She's very, very cuddly. I wish there was Petovision so you could do it. When you sit on the couch, she likes to go behind your head. So she's kind of like a stole here, and it's very sweet.
It is very sweet. She also is really reactive to scary stuff in movies. She seems to understand the energy of a scene of tension.
Yeah.
So if there's scary music that's leading to, say, a jump scare or something like that, she will suddenly start paying attention to it and we'll walk up to the TV, and once a big scary moment happens, she starts jumping up and down and barking at it. It's
She's
so
finally
much
tuned
fun.
to tension. Molly's an empath.
She is an
Yeah.
empath.
Yeah, so far no David glitches tonight, Nan. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Maybe he's taking the night off.
Yeah, so far is
what
right.
happened? Something weird. Oh, God, I was with Ryan, and I said, David, what the hell was it? I think we were in the car. Oh, man. It was that he went to turn a knob for the volume, I think it was. And we were looking right at it. One of our hand was like about to do it. It wasn't touching it. And the volume went all the way up.
Oh.
In the car.
Well, that doesn't sound...
I think that's what it was. It was definitely car related. It was definitely that we literally weren't touching the knob yet, but that something, and I think it was the volume. Yeah.
I'm
and
truly...
I was like, David.
I'm genuinely not kidding when I say that this stuff happens all the time now.
Yeah,
I
it's
get
weird.
technical glitches, and like it feels like there is a starting point to them.
Right.
Maybe they've been happening for a while, but
I know,
I
now we're
started
just, like,
paying
very
attention
tuned
to
into
them
Yeah.
during that one show where my phone started playing something.
Yeah.
And then your live stream where the lights started flickering.
Yep.
I only think of that as the starting point.
I know. It's so weird.
all
The
this
only
stuff.
things I've experienced solo are that and that the TV turned on by itself like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, right.
Oh, well, and the glitchy things during Dearly Departed Pop. By the way, tomorrow night, guys, right here on youtube.com/talkbomb at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be doing my monthly show, Dearly Departed Pop, talking about the show Whodunit.
Oh my
So if
God,
you
that's tomorrow?
Yep.
Wow, that came about fast.
It feels like it took a long time to me. Last month had an extra week.
You're right.
Of,
yeah,
like an extra like Friday, Thursday kind of thing. So it was a little bit longer than I think it'll normally be. It's actually 5 weeks between shows this time.
Yeah, yeah.
But
well, cool. That'll be fun.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
gonna be sweet.
totally. So come hang out.
Cool. Well, when we get started, we have this.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I have a definition of the kind of phobia that this all falls under.
Oh, okay,
So
cool.
I'll do that before your
Okay.
topic, if that's cool.
Yeah, that sounds good.
It's a good way to start it. And then
Cool.
and then I have like a lot of other stuff that we can use or lean on for another time.
Okay.
Just FYI.
All right,
We'll
perfect.
see. We're starting Can you see the timer over there?
Yes.
We're going to be starting when that's at about 8.
Okay.
Like we'll be 8 minutes in, so we can kind of gauge what kind of a show we've got at
Okay.
that point.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. But yeah, otherwise, I think we're okay.
All right, great. Hold on.
Chrissy, there have been streaming issues with OBS on Twitch. All right, well, we'll see. We'll have to see if anything happens here.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I think we'll be all right.
Here we go.
Cool. You're in
Yep.
good shape? Mm-hmm. Okay. Then, whenever you're ready.
All right.
All right.
Here we go.
Here we go.
well,
Well, take it away.
let me take a quick swig. My baba.
Take it away. Yeah, you know what? Let me get a swig, too.
Yeah. Stay hydrated, you know.
What, the whistle?
Hello. Welcome to Guides to the Unknown. I'm Kristen.
I'm William.
And today we are going to talk about scary clowns in honor of the movie It, which comes out on the day of the release of this podcast if you're listening in real time.
Well, that's perfect. Mm-hmm. It's almost as if it was planned.
I know. By the movie producers of It.
Yeah.
They're like, let's launch when Guides to the Unknown is releasing their Scary Clowns episode.
Yeah, it didn't
then
happen.
we'll be able to ride that sweet Guide to the Unknown wave to success.
As awesome as it would be if, like, New Line reached out to us
Yeah.
to try to coordinate something, which they didn't.
No.
It'd be even better if they were like, well, we've got to make sure that we ride the wave of popularity of a new Guide to the Unknown coming out.
Right. So let's time this thing right, people. Okay, September 6th, let's do it.
Yeah.
That did not happen.
But before we dig in, we're going to talk about something that very cool that was sent to us by a listener.
Yes.
Luke, who works for Prop Store, which you can find at propstore.com,
Yep.
sent us the live auction guide.
Yeah.
So it's a movie.
It's a catalog.
It's a catalog. But it's also like it's kind of like a museum that you can just like
Yes.
flip through. There's information
Yes.
about each one of these items.
Right.
Prop Store deals in like movie memorabilia. And so Luke sent us this awesome catalog of all the items that are actually up for auction.
Yeah.
And we went through a bunch of them and marked a few that we think are particularly of note to Guide to the Unknown listeners. These are things that you can actually get I can gawk at them in this book and be like, oh my
Right.
God, can you imagine?
Yes, exactly. It's very, very cool to just flip through and like read little anecdotes about the items and stuff. So, Will, what do you have for us that stood out to us?
Let's start right here.
Yeah.
This is a big one. This is
Yes.
like one of the most famous things that's ever been in a movie ever.
I was shocked to see it.
And by the way, in this book, the photography,
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, this is like, to call it a book is accurate. So
Yes.
it's technically a catalog because you can technically shop from it, but it's this like inch and a half thick, like nice paper, pretty well laid out.
And the pictures
Yeah.
are incredible.
Right.
And so there you can see that is Jack Torrance's axe from the
Yeah.
movie The Shining.
Yeah.
It is the actual axe. It has been maintained and kept in good condition for all these years.
Right.
And it's got this like huge double page spread in here.
Yeah, they're like full color pictures, nice glossy. It's a whole to do.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Let's just flip to another. I marked a few. Oh yeah, this one I thought was pretty neat.
Yeah.
This is like kind of a little thing, but like it's just really interesting and different.
Yeah, I like that that's what they use.
It's the clapperboard for Jaws. So,
like
you
just
know,
for fun, they kind of make it this way.
Yeah. So, like they would go like scene 3, take 1, action, and like they would clap this board to like sync the audio and everything.
Right.
And they used, instead of having like the flat clapperboard at the top, they've got this jagged, like a shark's teeth at the top of that clapperboard. Especially as somebody who likes things that are black and white, I looked at that.
You're
and I thought
right.
it was rad.
And also, that's kind of cool to see in this because that's not something that you would normally know about, like other movie memorabilia. Like, you
Right.
know about Jack's axe from
Sure.
The Shining and stuff and a lot of these other things, and they're still cool. But, like, I didn't know that they used a fun clapperboard just for the fun of it, just for themselves.
Yeah, it's just for
behind
the production.
scenes.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
you find some kind of cool behind the scenesy stuff in this.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not like that ever appeared like on screen.
Right, and
They-
I wouldn't know that if Luke didn't send us this.
Yeah,
so it was very
super cool.
cool and fun.
And then the last thing that
Yeah.
we're going to show off here. Oh, my God. It is one of the traps from Ghostbusters. An actual Ghostbuster trap. And it opens and closes. And then also, oh, my God. This is part of a section of just Ghostbusters stuff.
Yeah.
And I noticed also that you can see here there's a bag of actual Stay Puft marshmallows.
And they're looking great.
I know, they're all brown. They're all brown. They're from 1984.
Maybe they've been toasted a little bit.
This is a bag of marshmallows. They're actual marshmallows. Stay
Yeah.
Puft marshmallows. Stay Puft even when toasted.
Right.
From 1984.
So one could posit that those are toasted and they're just
Toasted
everlasting
in the bag.
marshmallows.
That's why
Yeah.
they're brown.
Exactly.
No, it's super cool. I've been flipping through this thing as
Yeah.
a fan of like movies and as a fan of, quite frankly, like not just watching movies but the idea of making them.
Oh, yeah.
It's really cool to see like really like high def photos
Right.
of just like famous stuff across decades of film. There's a huge Star Wars section in
Yeah.
here.
It's a very diverse selection.
Big
And I want to
Jurassic
say,
Park section.
like, Luke just kind of, from us talking about movies and things like that, he knows that we're kind of movie dorks and we would
Yeah.
like this kind of thing. This isn't like an ad or a sponsored anything.
No.
Luke just like nicely reached out to us and was like, hey, I work with this company. I think there's gonna be stuff in here that you guys might want to see and might geek out about. Like, would you want to see this catalog and look through it? And we're like, hell yeah, we'll take a look at the catalog.
Yeah, Luke,
and
you were
then,
correct.
Yeah, he was absolutely correct. So we're telling you about it. That's it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
go check out some of this stuff for yourself. Go to propstore.com.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Super cool. And yeah, thanks again, Luke.
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
This really has been fun to look through, so thank you.
It's rad.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
And now let's get into the clown stuff. Before you dig into Pennywise the Dancing Clown,
Yep.
I decided to take it upon myself to look up, because quite frankly, I did some research of things and I came across a term that I'd never seen before, Coulrophobia, which is the fear of clowns.
Okay.
Some people refer to it as Bozophobia.
Okay.
So I thought we might take a
Colloquially.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I thought we might take a quick, brief look at what this sort of, there are phobias of all
phenomenon.
kinds of things. What is the origin of Bozophobia,
Yeah.
Coulrophobia, and get some facts here.
Cool.
First of all, Coulrophobia might be a combination of, well, phobia, of course, is fear of.
Yep.
You have that all the time. But the Coulro seems like it might come from ancient Greek kalobathristes, which means one who goes on stilts.
Oh. Weird.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
They didn't have a word for clown.
Yeah, right.
So
So
they
there's
had to
one
kind
who
of
goes
like
on stilts.
get
Yeah.
there eventually. But yeah, one who goes on stilts.
Interesting. I mean, maybe that was early clowning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Go up on stilts and be like, whoa, whoa.
Sure.
Like
Well,
you can't balance.
Yeah, I found it's like really interesting. I don't remember if they get into this exact point in here. I don't think they do. But the idea of like being afraid of clowns and like the idea of clowns being evil is not a new thing, really.
Yeah.
The idea of a prankster, somebody who causes mischief,
Yeah, Mary Trickster.
goes back like thousands of years.
Yeah.
But so
Loki.
the trickster god.
He's a trickster god.
But I found a website, Coulrophobiafacts.com. I'll have the link in the show notes. It's hard
That's
to
probably
spell.
a nightmare for somebody who has it.
I went to the website. There's like a thing of balloons in the corner.
What if somebody's just trying to like learn more about their condition and they're faced with like, ha,
Yeah,
ha.
I know. They actually like on the website, it is very sort of like open-minded about people who have the condition, but I was like, what are they going to put on here? And balloons are a good
Yeah.
subtle one, but it's still I feel like would
Yeah, but I feel like
Harken
that's
to the-
exactly. It's like a harbinger of clown to come.
Yeah. So here's what they say on that website. Since it is not an old phobia, but one that increased in recent decades, little is known about coulrophobia. Scientists and doctors now agree that it is a result of not knowing who lies behind the excessive makeup, red nose, and hair color. The clown wears a colorful makeup to deconstruct the facial features to create a new identity. And clowns can also break social norms. Their mask makes them able to do things that others can't do socially, like interacting with unknown people at ease. Some researchers believe that coulrophobia cases increased after the 90s when Steven Spielberg's classic horror film It, depicting...
Stephen King's.
Yeah, they wrote Spielberg.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, that's funny. Depicting a murderous clown was released, and the portrayal of the Joker as an evil character in Batman movies did not help matters either. There's also a page for treatment. Here's a quote from the treatment page. Unfortunately, there is no cure for clown phobia.
Oh God.
Which I thought was...
That's it. It's not like unfortunately there's no cure, but we find yada yada yada.
No,
to
there's
be
I cherry picked a quote. There's all kinds of stuff on the page about like exposure therapy and stuff, but I
Yeah.
did think clicking over to treatment and unfortunately there is no cure.
Like, oh.
It made me laugh.
Okay. Well,
It just made me laugh.
yeah.
But there you go.
Like a clown.
Coulrophobiafacts.com. Now you claim to have had coulrophobia.
No, I never have felt like it was a phobia. Like it was never like that deeply ingrained and serious.
Yeah.
But I hated clowns. The closest thing that I can equate it to is my reaction to them was akin to seeing something very gory. Like I would feel the same way, where if there would be something on screen that would really gross you out, that's how I felt looking at a clown. I was just like, ugh, gross. Like I didn't like looking at them.
Sure.
It made me like a little sick. I just didn't like it. So when I would watch movies and stuff, I mean, it's exactly like with gore. I still do this today with gory stuff. I don't like gore really. So when it's happening, I kind of look at something a little to the side of screen. I don't really feel the need to be like about that stuff, but I just want to like, I guess I want to be looking just far away enough that I don't have to see it, but be able to come back quickly so I can just watch what I'm watching again. And that's what I did with clowns forever when they were on things. I would just kind of like be like looking away or just like kind of blur my eyes a little bit, and then when I can tell they're gone, I just like go back to it. I would say that I kind of cured my clown thing. I still don't like them, but I used to really. It was probably partially just psychological. Like I would just be like, nope. Like when they would like come on or something. I started essentially self-driven exposure therapy.
I remember you doing that around the time of the most recent It movie.
Yeah.
It was pretty recent. It was only like a couple of years ago.
Well, I can definitely tell you when it was, because after everything happened, we've referenced it on the show before a little bit, but Will and I and our family had like a horrendous period of like a year in 2016. Our dad got really sick and was like it was like a horrendous period of being in the hospital and like being on the edge of stuff. And then in the midst of that, our sister was killed by a drunk driver and really bringing it down. But a little bit after that, there was something where I was gonna be seeing a clown or something. Or Molly,
I know I'm gonna be seeing a clown soon.
It might have been that Sarah was talking to me about watching the 1990 miniseries It.
Oh, okay.
Like the movie wasn't out yet, but it wasn't that far away from it. And like it's funny, I don't have that many like beam from sky moments where I had to change kind of thing, but I was like, you know what? I'm sick of avoiding clowns. This is a pain in my ass. Like, not a huge problem. I was like, this is annoying. It's just stupid.
I'm not going to take this anymore.
Kind of. And I was like, I've been through enough scary stuff.
Yeah.
Like, life is too short. I'll probably be fine looking at clowns or whatever. So then they come up more than you would think. If you're freaked out by them, you notice it. But like, if you don't care, you don't notice it. They come up kind of a lot-ish in life. So I would seriously, even if it was, I don't think they ever in car commercials, but let's say there's a car commercial with a clown. Even that, I just had trained myself to like, not looking at that or whatever. I just started looking at them.
Fellas, I got it. I know how we're going to move these Jeeps. Come in, Bonko. Here we go. Can't wait. Honk, honk. That's the car horn.
I just started looking at them.
Yeah.
I didn't like it at first, but I got used to it.
Oh,
I
bravo.
still don't like them.
Bravissimo.
Thank you. But I don't really have a problem with them anymore.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Well done.
So yeah, I didn't quite have coulrophobia or whatever,
Yeah.
but I had a distaste that ran to the extreme, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But
A distaste that ran to the extreme.
that I think was prompted by Clarabelle from Howdy Doody.
Howdy doody.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
a scary clown.
Clarabelle, yeah. We have a video.
I think that might still give me a flutter if I saw it. It's
Maybe.
just like, bleh.
We have a video on youtube.com/talkbomb called Clarabelle the Nightmare Clown.
Yeah.
Which is from an old VHS tape that we have.
Yes.
Somewhere here, like Howdy Doody's 50th birthday.
Right.
And it's the time
Every child's favorite tape.
we used to watch it
I
constantly.
know. It's so weird.
And Clarabelle only spoke through honking a horn. Mm-hmm. And then in this 50th anniversary special, he was finally going to speak for the first time.
Yeah, he gathered his strength.
And the camera pushes in on Clarabelle's face, and they put in this like
Yeah, it's like a low, what do you call that with the drums?
yeah, like a
What do you call drum roll?
drum roll.
It's like this very low, like, yeah.
and Clarabelle's like nervous and like trying to pull himself together. He goes,
Creepy.
"Goodbye, kids,"
Ugh.
in a soft little voice.
Yeah, I still don't like it.
So I put it up as Clarabelle the Nightmare Clown, and it got like thousands of views, and a bunch of the comments were like, "This moment made me cry when I was a kid."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm afraid of your childhood, like nostalgic moment."
Yeah, it's freaky and
Yeah.
uncomfortable. I really think that's where it started. I think I did not like that, and I just associated it.
Yeah, yeah.
But Mr. Pennywise, I would say, was my my first long form introduction to clowns as an adult who has rejected their past fear of them. Because Sarah and I
Yeah.
did watch the 1990 miniseries It, starring Tim Curry as Pennywise, and I was fine.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I think I eased into it a little bit. It's hard to explain. Even saying eased in makes it sound like I was like sweating or something.
Sure.
But like I think I was just like, I don't really like this, and I just kind of got used to it or whatever.
I wonder if it might have even helped that it was Tim Curry.
William, it totally did.
He's such a larger than life
That is
personality, and his voice
exactly right.
is very distinct.
I remember Sarah and I talking about that because I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know if I want to watch it, whatever. And she was like, but it's Tim Curry, and it's so obviously Tim Curry, and I love Tim Curry, so I was like, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So that could ease me in. So yeah, and it was totally fine.
Yeah.
But I'm going to talk about Pennywise as a whole, and something that you and I briefly talked about. So Pennywise introduces himself with the name Bob Gray a couple of times.
I am fascinated by that.
I have some theories that work off of some information that I'd never seen before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't want to oversell it, but it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So I decided to kind of divide this up in the things that I knew / remembered off the top of my head about Pennywise, and then going into seeing how right that is and expanding on it. So I'm going
Okay.
to tell you the things that I could remember off the top of my head, like what's Pennywise. I remembered obviously that he is the dancing clown who's supposed to live in the sewers under Derry, Maine in Stephen King's book It. So that's the broad thing, just in case anybody doesn't know or whatever. Obviously, off the top, I remember he's played by Tim Curry in that miniseries. He's played by Bill Skarsgård in the newer movies from 2017 and 2019. I remembered that he comes out to feed every 27 years and that he likes to scare his prey because it makes them tastier. Fear floods the body and salts the meat, he
Yeah.
says. Blech. I remembered that its true form isn't a clown exactly. It's just kind of its default favorite form, basically.
Right.
So it can appear as the thing that's scariest to the object of his attention at the time. such as I remembered a werewolf wearing a Letterman jacket.
Oh my God! Yeah, in the book and in the, what is it, 80s or 90s miniseries?
Yeah, I think it's in the miniseries.
Yeah, he shows up as a werewolf. There was a whole thing with Pennywise where he was supposed to have something to do with the original Universal monsters, and so he shows up as a werewolf.
Yeah.
I think he only wears a Letterman jacket because Stephen King loves the 50s.
It's definitely the reason he's wearing a Letterman jacket. Yeah, so you have a visual image of like a cool werewolf.
David Letterman jacket?
Is that what he said?
No, I said
It wouldn't be impossible. And I remembered that he sometimes identifies himself with the name Bob Gray. I wrote he identifies himself with the name Robert Gray.
Okay.
To spoil things, I had to later correct myself. He's Bob Gray, and I was being overly formal.
It's such like
in my memory.
It's so weird, but like Bob Gray. Like I feel like the way that he even says it is like, I'm Bob Gray.
Yeah, it's very definitive.
And it's very blue collar in a strange way. It's sort of dressed down. Bob instead of Robert.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something about it that makes me think of like a car mechanic.
Right.
Kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And it's
a very straightforward, not flowery name.
Yeah, meat and potatoes kind of
Yeah.
guy, Bob Gray.
Yeah, I'm Bob Gray.
And it made me almost think that it was to even decrease the idea of him as a threat at all. Why, I'm just an average Joe. I'm Bob Gray.
It could be. I think that's a good thought. And then I was thinking about his weaknesses. Like, for some reason, that off the top was what occurred to me rather than, like, the crazy things he can do. I thought, and I'm incorrect, I remembered him as being defeated by the kids in the book by the act of love in a gross way. Because all of the kids have sex in the book It.
Right.
Well, I should say Beverly has sex with each of the boys, because God forbid boys.
I know, yeah, exactly.
But whatever. They one at a time. It's dumb anyway. But like, even if you're gonna do that, must we keep it so hetero? I just think it's very lame. It's in every way.
One of the most baffling creative decisions.
Yes.
That is actually, it's not how they defeat it. That's how they escape the sewer.
Right. So that's what I said. That's what I remembered first, and then I was like, wait a minute, that's not right. That wasn't necessary.
No.
That is to bring unity to their group and symbolize their transition to adulthood after having fought this monster.
You know, gang, I'm afraid that might have been unnecessary.
Like, what?
That is shocking.
Shocking.
And lame.
Yes,
I do want to
say
that on top of all the reasons why that's controversial.
Right.
It's children all like having sex with like the one girl.
Right.
On top of the reasons why that is sort of like perverse, this is also a really lame decision to have made.
I couldn't agree with you more. It's very dorky.
It's dorky.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
So
it is like 1,000 pages long.
I didn't write that down, but I will point that out as well. It's not really a fact about Pennywise the Clown, but I detest the book It.
We reviewed it on our old
hate
podcast, Book Club Schmook Club.
Yeah.
You can go listen to it still. Maybe we'll post a link this week. I don't even remember what we said in it.
Yeah.
But it was like a long, hard road for me to even convince Kristen to read the book for that show.
Well, totally, because I still was like not about clowns, so that's strike one. And then I was aware of how long it was and how hit and miss Stephen King is for me.
Yeah.
And it ended up being, I really hated it.
Gigantic book.
There are things from that book that like haunt me, that bother me
because they stink.
No, that are like upsetting.
Oh, that are upsetting. There's so many upsetting things.
Yeah, there are
the
things
book.
that just like will like pop into my mind, like anxiety thoughts. I'm just like, oh god, like I wish I hadn't read it. I really hate it.
He's like the king of horror and the king of lame stuff.
Yeah.
And the king of things that just make you feel bad.
Like just like not
and
even
gross
just
you
horror,
out.
like upsetting,
Yeah.
dark human stuff. Which I can see an argument for that being impressive, but I don't need that. I have my own dark stuff. I don't need things like that.
No, thanks, Mr. King.
No, I hate it.
Occupado.
Yeah.
I don't need your hang-ups.
Someone's in here.
I've got mine.
Yeah. So that obviously really stands out to me. It's the worst.
Oh, that's so funny.
I also remembered vaguely that as adults, when they go back, when they go back to Derry, that they go underground and they find its true form, which is a giant spider, and beat the crap out of it.
Yeah.
But then I also could remember that it was defeated by the kids calling its bluff and not being scared of him, which weakens him, so they can beat the crap out of him in the 2017 movie. I just kind of had these disparate images.
They're all sort of like, they're projections of some ideas of things that happen.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm going to break down exactly how he's defeated in the movie, in the book, the miniseries, and the movie
Cool.
at each of the showdowns. So I'll go into it. But those are just the little things that I thought to myself, what do I think of when I think of Pennywise? Those are those things. So now let's go into a little bit of fact checking. And I use the stephenking.fandom.com/wiki website for almost all of this stuff. It's like very expansive, very well organized, a great wiki. So it is true that it feeds every 27 years, but it's not just like clockwork. I had kind of thought that like when 27 years is up, like it's time to eat, it comes back up. Sometimes it's prompted by something evil, kind of like enticing it awake.
Yeah.
It,
Did I just throw you?
yeah. How did you do that so fast?
Ignore it.
Okay.
It's a reference to. All right. I saw Bobby posted. There's the review of It that Red Letter Media did, which is called "Spooky Clowns Scare Me."
That's funny.
It was like, yeah, whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Where was I? Okay, so I had assumed to remember that it feeds every 27 years, so it's like clockwork. Like it just wakes up and it's like me hungry and like comes up. But it's sometimes enticed out of hibernation by something very evil happening kind of on the surface that it's like, ooh, let me get some of that. So the kids find that out by basically like tracking child disappearances, like cross-referencing them with catastrophic events in Derry's history. And they found things like a man murdering his family, a guy murdering a ton of people at a bar, a building exploding and killing a ton of people, including kids doing an Easter egg hunt, and white supremacists burning down a nightclub that catered to black people. There were lots of child disappearances around that time.
Okay.
So it seems like it would kind of come up and be like, ooh, perfect. There's like a ton of tragedy and scared stuff going on right now. I can there are plenty of salted people all ready to go and feast on all of that stuff and then go back down. There are witness reports that the kids found at some of these scenes of weirdos that sound very Pennywise-esque. So somebody will say that they saw a comical sort of fella around when something happened. Somebody mentioned seeing a clown dressed in farmer's clothes, or a giant bird with balloons on its wings.
Oh.
So Pennywise really loves the clown shtick. That definitely is his or its default.
It's like bread and butter.
Yeah, definitely. I had seen something about Pennywise particularly going after kids because they're more easily scared, and because Pennywise works in such a visual medium, basically, and kids are going to respond to that better than adults, maybe.
Okay.
I think I would still freak the hell out of any of these things.
That's so strange. There are some things about Pennywise that I think are really cool concepts. Quite frankly, to me, Stephen King is just like a guy that has 1,000,001 really awesome ideas that are then executed to varying degrees.
Varying degrees of success.
But Pennywise I find really interesting, and I think one of the reasons why is because there is a really sort of like give and take malleable rule set to him. I think it's a weird thing that the reason why he wants to scare you is to salt the meat.
Yes.
And that his goal is to salt your meat and then eat you, but also he feeds off of the evil that people do or is provoked by it. You know what I mean? Like everything you just talked about, like all those inciting like miserable events.
I wonder if those events stoke a lot of fear and he can sense that. So if we're going with salting the meat, maybe that's like smelling delicious meat. And he's like, ooh, something's going on up there. This is going to be really good. And it like wakes him up like, like Pepe Le Pew flying on a cloud of fumes or something. Yeah.
It's funny that he like at the same time, like he's also presented as needing humans to carry out some of his evil deeds for him. And then sometimes he himself attacks.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the difference is between those things.
Know. I guess maybe it's simple like laziness.
Maybe
it's like sometimes he's like in a mood to kind of play with people and have them do his bidding, and other times he wants to like get his hands dirty or something.
I guess he feels unmotivated.
Yeah.
Only needing to eat is not a very compelling thing to me.
Right, and that's his only thing. His two modes are eat and sleep. It's just that in order to eat, he has to scare. It's only connected to feeding.
But the thing is, like, is it nice to have salt on your food? Yeah, but you don't need it.
Right.
He seems to need it, but he
Right.
describes it as something that I relate as like
A preference.
a preference.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
how do you decide when there's enough salt on your meat?
Well, here's the
There's
thing.
also such a thing as oversalting.
I think that he can be sated with like a concentration of fear or whatever, because I also saw things about those events, and there's some others, the things in Derry that happened, him going back into hibernation right away.
Right.
So it's almost like there was something so horrible that he got his fill just from that one event, as opposed to his I saw somewhere that it said that he kind of had a standard like year-long feeding. Like he comes out and about for a year and goes to town and then goes back in. But if there's something like this building collapsing and a ton of children dying and stuff, like the fear is so potent then that I guess it equals that year of feasting.
All right, that's pretty fascinating. That's something worth like really examining.
It was weird. It wasn't that absolute. I don't have the quote, but it was like he, sometimes we'll feed for a year. It didn't seem like a hard and fast rule the way that I'm explaining it. Like it's a year unless.
No, yes, that
but,
makes sense. Now
yeah.
he sounds like a vessel that needs to be filled.
Yes, I think that there's
periodically.
a certain line that needs to be hit, basically.
And so you could essentially almost treat him like an old god, which I think is some of Stephen King's idea of him.
Yes, it is. He's supposed to be kind of like an eldritch.
So oddly, if we did every 27 years a big sacrifice to Pennywise,
True.
we might not have to deal with Pennywise.
That's a good point.
Right?
That's a good point if the people got wise. But then you're
Pennywise.
negating the feet. Pennywise, pound short. But then you're negating the fear part, maybe.
But does he care
Well-
about the hunt? He just cares about how salted the flesh is. If we find a way to kill people through fear, we're in good shape.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I guess if like you form a mob onto an unsuspecting person, so
Sure.
there's a ton of fear in them, then I guess that might take care of it. That's true, but I think that I don't know. I guess that would work.
You see what I'm saying?
No, I totally see what you're saying. I'm wondering out loud if there's anything about that wouldn't work for him.
Yeah.
Like as far as like satiation and
Yeah.
like the salt of the meat and the fear and everything like that. Like I wonder if that takes away some of the thrill or something. That,
Maybe.
I feel like it wouldn't do the trick. I think it theoretically would if he's like a vessel that needs to be filled. But there is something about him that seems like he is enjoying the process of the fear.
Yeah, but he can also be hurt. And so there's a
Right.
calculated risk. By him having to do the hunting himself,
Yeah.
he opens himself back up to attack from people like the Losers Club.
Maybe that's how he gets his jollies.
Maybe. He does seem to like to get his jollies.
He does seem like a jolly fellow.
got
So
'em.
maybe, yeah. So maybe he likes the
Yeah,
of it
maybe,
a little bit.
maybe.
But I like that idea. That is
Right?
true.
It's kind of interesting. Like
theoretically.
maybe like in ancient times, that's what people
Right.
did. But now we view those people as having been uncultured.
Yeah.
And as a result of having changed to our modern ways where we don't sacrifice people, we get hunted periodically.
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
Although,
That's kind of a fun interpretation. That's my newest. That's going to be the thing that I hold on to now.
well, here's the thing
That's my
though.
new interpretation of Pennywise.
He can mind control people, sort of. Like the
Yeah.
town of Derry forgets that these things happen and doesn't really react to like all these children going missing and all
Right.
those things.
Yeah.
So he could theoretically just make them bring him scary stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. See, now I'm back to being like, what is this?
I know.
What is he?
It's weird. It's very amorphous, which I think that could be. I can see why that's useful, because if the lines are barely there, then you can kind of do anything.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it does take a little something away from it, because you don't know exactly what the rules are, and the rules can be so useful in horror.
You know what-
Like, blurring those lines can also make you nervous and off kilter. But when it's something where it's like, well, is it this? Is it that? Is it defeatable?
Yeah.
Like, is it invincible? Does it like this? Does it even care? I think it takes a little something away from it. Although, does it? Because we're having fun discussing it.
It's fun to discuss.
Yeah.
I think it would be different if Pennywise was never defined, and I think he is defined, and that I think is what gives me issues, because
Well, he's defined so loosely.
he's well, kind of. We know certain things as facts that you
Right.
just described. Every 27 years, he likes to salt the meat. He can do mind control stuff. He finds the thing that you're most afraid of. Those are like some of the building blocks of Pennywise. But then each one of those things can be like, well, but not really, because he does this sometimes.
Right.
Not really, because he does that sometimes. If they just were like, we don't know what he is.
Right.
We don't know what he is, and sometimes he does this stuff. But it's always presented as if those are facts.
Yeah, that's what's more frustrating. If it was just we just don't know, that's
Right.
one thing. But it's like, we know, but
Yeah. I always find myself comparing him to Freddy Krueger. I can't not.
I think that it makes a ton of sense. Why don't you explain that a little bit?
So Freddy Krueger is also a sort of like mythical type monster that presents your worst fear back at you and attacks you through it. He can shapeshift. He is a joker. He's a jester type. And there are even like odd sort of industry parallels between them.
Yeah.
Freddy Krueger was the first like thing that New Line did, New Line Cinema. And New Line Cinema was known as the house that Freddy built because the Nightmare on Elm Street series was so profitable. They made tons of them. New Line is also the production house that makes these new It movies.
Right.
And I've always felt like Freddy Krueger is so the same but better in terms of like the way that his rules are defined. If you're asleep, he can get you. If you're awake, he can't. In the dream world, he has complete control of everything. He might toy with you because he's sadistic. He was a serial killer in life that became a dream demon guy in death. And he is usually going to find your weak spot and kill you through it. Are you afraid of bugs? He's going to turn you into a giant bug and then step on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Like, it's kind of simple and stupid. But like,
It's funny that if you're afraid of bugs, he doesn't swarm you with bugs. He turns you into a bug.
I think that is something that happened, to be perfectly fair.
Oh, no!
Oh, no, I am what I was
I've
afraid
become
of.
that which I fear. Which could be
A
empowering.
bug like pontificating about like existential crises.
Isn't that basically that book that I'm going to both sound smart and then take it right away? Albert Camus book, The Stranger or whatever? Doesn't he like turn into a bug?
Are you thinking about Franz Kafka's
I was about to say it's
Metamorphosis?
Kafka. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're close.
Yes.
But yeah, I think it probably was playing off of that too. But like, I like the idea that Freddy Krueger is like, you know where you stand with him,
Right.
in a way.
Yes, totally.
And with it's like, oh, well, he let me get away again.
Right.
All right. Like, when am I salted enough? It's not like there's a salt meter.
Yeah,
where you're
keeps-
like, if he scares me one more time, I'm gonna die.
Yeah,
With
yeah,
Freddy
you
Krueger,
don't know.
most of the
Yeah.
time it's like you go to the dream and he kills you, or you
Right.
manage to escape by waking up.
Right.
There's a clear safety or danger zone with him.
Yes.
With it's like,
Yeah, you don't know his preference.
it's up to the whims of Stephen King as a writer of when it's gonna let him get,
Yeah.
Stan.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Totally. And like he is very, very scary, obviously, Pennywise, but he is also like, you can't really, he's not so tangible, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, you're scared, but I don't know how clear it is that you're in, like, your life is in danger in those moments or whatever. So that's another thing where it's just like, where
Yeah.
are the parameters of this? What's gonna happen?
Where am
I
I?
just gonna be very scared?
What's my
happening?
status?
Yeah, exactly.
I can live with being scared, but am I at risk
Am I in
right now?
danger, or are you just freaking me the hell out? Like,
Can
the
you
stakes are
kill
very
me, or
vague.
you have to eat me, or
Yeah.
But what do you do? Like, I
Yeah.
feel like I end up always going like, what are you? What do you do?
Yes.
Also, weird parallel. It came out in 1986. A Nightmare on Elm Street came out in 1984.
Yeah.
I was trying to look into which was created first.
Mm-hmm.
Freddy Krueger, that movie, started getting written in 1981.
Okay.
Stephen King says he came up with the idea for it in 1978.
Okay. Well, they could both be true.
But Freddy Krueger beat him to the punch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That must have sucked. Honestly, if he noticed those parallels, maybe he didn't. But can you imagine? Well, you can't imagine. Like, if somebody, comes
Yeah.
out with something that you've been working on, what a pain in the ass. So it's
Yeah.
kind of good that he persisted.
Yes. I think they're different enough to justify being their own
They
things.
totally are. But just the feeling of being like, oh,
And it is the hot one today.
yes.
But I still think that a modern Freddy Krueger could crush.
I think it'll probably happen eventually. Did the remake do well? It obviously didn't do that well because I didn't keep going. But was it like,
It was
it a
terrible.
critical and commercial flop or what?
I don't know. I mean, it was probably made so cheap that I'm sure it made money,
Yeah.
but it was just so bad.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to touch that anymore.
Yeah.
Robert Englund says that he'd be game to do one more,
Okay.
which I think would be interesting.
I hope he does
And then
that,
he
even
wants
though
he
I-
wants Kevin Bacon to take over.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That just came out like recently. That was like in the last couple weeks or something. That's right. I remember reading that.
Yeah.
I hope he does that, even though that's not a franchise I've like gotten into. I like the idea of people revisiting stuff like that.
Like really trippy
the
horror
original
and stuff, and yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's
for sure.
awesome. So I mentioned it in the things that I remembered about it, but its form is a little bit confusing. This is definitely not going to be an explanation for like major Stephen King buffs to like latch onto. I'm going to be a little wishy-washy because I didn't feel like getting into the whole thing. So its true physical form is a giant pregnant spider that came from a parallel universe known as the Macroverse.
Right.
So it is kind of in league with something called the Deadlights, which are essentially this crazy energy that takes different forms and can be used different ways, and it appears as these like orange like beams of light, very, very intense.
Someone pointed out, I don't remember who, it might have been the Now Playing podcast, that is a pun.
Oh.
And it never occurred to me. And once I noticed it, I find it very
What?
annoying. Headlights.
Deadlights. Oh my God.
Isn't that terrible? Wasn't it better when you just thought it was like, what are deadlights? I don't know. It's these lights on them. But once you start going like, look into my deadlights, and you think of the headlights.
That's also dead on. Like, that makes complete sense because Stephen King loves cars.
Yep. Something cool that I interpreted incorrectly made worse by learning what it really is.
Yeah, because Deadlights is
Deadlights.
like a dorky but kind of cool, fun name. Like,
Oh, I
like
thought it was
that.
creepy and unknowable.
Yeah. Deadlights.
Deadlights.
It's, well, I guess reading as Deadlights is a little bit different than Deadlights.
Sure.
For some reason. So Deadlights, I was like, okay, that's one of those like weird Kingisms, but like I'm kind of into it. Deadlights, the way you just said it, does sound cool.
Yeah.
But Deadlights, Headlights is a rough one.
That's a rough one.
Yeah, it's a rough one. So I want to get into the Bob Gray thing now.
Oh, great.
So like we said, he will introduce himself as Bob Gray sometimes. And I went formal and called him Robert Gray, but it's Bob. And so it turns out that the serial killer Albert Fish sometimes used Bob Gray as an alias.
Oh.
So some people wonder if that was an inspiration for Stephen King.
Huh.
Which is not impossible, honestly.
That's very interesting. What a jerk.
Right. Yeah. That guy was a real jerk. And then let's get into some stuff. Okay. Or could it be that Bob Gray was a real person with a real body that it inhabited as a convenience or something and used their name? Or was Pennywise once a human named Bob Gray and somehow kind of like evolved into this monster? So I did some Googling and I found out that there's a deleted scene from the movie where they show Bill Skarsgård not looking like Pennywise at all, looking like a human. That might support the theory that Pennywise was once a human named Bob Gray who somehow turned into this whole deal.
Interesting.
So he says, and this is a quote from The Independent, "There was a scene we shot that was a flashback from the 1600s before Pennywise was Pennywise," the actor described. "The scene turned out really, really disturbing, and I'm not the clown. I look more like myself. It's very disturbing and sort of a backstory for what it is, or where Pennywise came from," Skarsgård added. "That might be something worth exploring in the second one. The idea is the it entity was dormant for thousands and thousands of years. The flashback scene hints at that." So then they print a scene from an early draft of the movie by Gary Dauberman, and I actually just want to read it.
Sure.
Because
so
I think it's
excited
very
about
interesting.
this. Yeah.
And I was curious because Stephen King obviously famously hates Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. I read this and I was like, I wonder if this is kind of sanctioned by King. Like, is he into this? And it didn't end up in the final movie, so it's not totally clear to be like, yeah, he sanctions this scene, but he does love the movie It. So it seems like he's on board with their interpretation of things.
Yeah.
Which means that I think it's not a terrible leap to read a little bit of this into the meaning of the whole thing of It and Pennywise.
I do know that he also asked them, I think for this most recent one, It Chapter 2, I think he said that he wanted them to shoot a new scene for him.
Oh, interesting.
So, like, I think that he's still adding on to the sort of lore
Yeah.
of Pennywise now.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Let's take a look.
I also think in the trailer for the new movie, they do show Bill Skarsgård as a farmer man.
know.
Right? Like,
Yes,
he looks like a
that-
normal person. He doesn't have, like, the big bulbous
Right.
Pennywise head.
That scene at the very end of the most recent, like, final trailer.
It's so good. Where he's just going, whoa!
It is very good.
I'm like excited to see that movie.
I'm really excited to see the movie. Will and I dorked out about the trailer like a couple of weeks ago on the phone. I think that most recent trailer, what they call the final trailer for it, is one of the best trailers I've seen in a while. I love the score of the trailer. I hope that's like the score in the movie. I love his voiceover, like the thing where I'm not going to do an imitation because it'd be horrible. But when he says, like, for 27 years, I dreamed of you. I craved you. I've missed you.
Yeah.
It is so...
I've missed you.
It is so good. And they, like, smash cut to his insane face doing that.
He's got, like, blood running down his eyes. And his eyes are looking in two different directions. He's
right.
Going, whoa.
I know.
So
I don't know how his face is doing that.
It's incredible.
Sorry, this isn't loading. Hang on a second.
Do you want to try to look it up on here? Do you know the link?
I sent you the link in your email.
You sent it as an image, I think.
What? No, I didn't. I cut and paste. Unless
really?
OneNote like did
it ended up.
weird.
It ended up. Because I looked at it before and it treated it like an image.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe that was on PC. Maybe on mobile it'll be different.
That's weird.
Now look, see, it's like loading it as a block right now.
Oh.
See, like it's like
That's weird. I just hit copy and paste.
Yeah, I thought you did that like accidentally, and I was like, "Do you expect me to like type out all these links?"
No, sorry. I don't know why I
them.
did that.
All right.
Hold on a sec.
That's so funny.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, you got it?
Yep.
Okay.
Let me just scroll down. Okay, so this is on that independent. Sorry, does it pop up?
You're good.
Okay, so that was from that independent article, and we're going to have the link to that in the show notes. But they found it from Reddit. Somebody kind of dug up this draft of the script, and I'm just going to read it. I'm not going to try to like act or anything, but I felt like it was worth reading rather than me just condensing it, because it's pretty cool. It has kind of like notes about the way things look and things like that I thought would be more fun to hear about than me just summarizing.
Sure.
Okay, so it says 1637. Interior well house, night Abigail, 19, rushes in and slams the door as if trying to keep Satan himself out. She clutches her baby to her breast, kneels by dying embers in the hearth. She blows on him. I feel like it's weird that it says like apostrophe em, whatever.
In the action?
Yeah. She blows on him, but a flame never catches. Her baby starts to fuss. Abigail, hush now. Shh. It'll be okay. Or no, it'll be... She stops. Realizes that the small candle chandelier slowly spins above her, as if some unnatural force has caused its lights to rotate around the room, like tiny primitive searchlights. She hears something slithering in the gray shadows by the well. Occasionally we catch a glimpse of a black silhouette, shifting its shape, as if trying to decide on a form. Abigail continued, "Please, devil, leave us be." Shape shifts again. A beam of light passes, revealing Pennywise, naked, lithe, flesh pale and translucent. A half-formed imitation of a human opens his maw full of large, razor-sharp teeth, dripping with saliva. As the tin can spins clockwise, not sure what the deal is with that. That might maybe the chandelier. I don't know.
Maybe.
Pennywise moves counter around the room. Each time the light hits his face, it's different. A man, a woman, a beast, a monster. Pennywise. "You mistake me, woman. No mere devil, I am the eater of worlds," which I know is from the book. His voice is guttural, unnatural. Abigail. "But my child, not my child, he is innocent." Pennywise. "So you say." It's formatted really, really weird. See, it's like, yeah, look. So you say, the baby screams. Like, that's not Pennywise saying
right.
it. It's the baby screams.
Yeah, that is annoying.
So it's a little bit,
Yeah.
let's just try to go with it. So Pennywise says, "So you say." The baby screams. Pennywise smiles. Pennywise continued, "Beautiful fear." Abigail. "I pray thee, take me." Abigail shuffles back. Pennywise. "I will, and then him, and thy husband and the rest of thy children, and all the savages who brought you here. And when you all rot in the earth, I will pick thy bones dry until no meat is left to pick. And then I will seek out thy bones and consume thy souls until nothing is left but the weeds. Or you will occupy yourself otherwise and not interfere. I will take her," meaning the baby, "and you will live, and those of thy other children, in whom I take no interest. And you will thank me fever and frost did not damn you to the soil." Abigail looks down at her baby again. She's shaking, doesn't want to let go. Behind her, the door opens. A little boy, 6, asks, "Mama?" Abigail. "No, out, now." Frightened by his mother, the boy runs. Abigail turns back to Pennywise, wherever he may be now in the room. The lights somehow seem to spin faster now. She kisses her baby and sets it down. It bawls. Abigail, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. She turns away from the baby, faces those dying embers. We keep on her face as they seem to begin glowing brighter, as over her shoulder, out of focus, Pennywise crawls over to the baby and starts to feast. Ugh. Sharp cry from the baby, cut off as we hear a crunch. Abigail continues to look into the bright orange glow of not the flickering fire, but the dead lights. Her expression changing. Fear, denial, grief, acceptance, and then nothing. Just a glazed look, as if nothing horrific is actually happening behind her.
That's interesting.
So, what I thought that kind of suggests is that he, like, remember when, like, Voldemort is, like, a half-baby thing?
Yeah.
Them talking about his skin being, like, pale and translucent or whatever, it does make me wonder if this was a person who somehow got mixed up in something, either on purpose or something happened to him that's transforming him in some way, and he's becoming Pennywise from being Bob Gray.
See, that makes me think of something that has never had any form. It's like the movie The Thing.
Yeah.
Where it's just like an alien that is just like trying to learn how to be a person.
I would have thought that too. Connecting it to the Bob Gray thing is what makes me wonder if this is an existing person who's maybe like, I don't know, transforming and almost becoming inhuman first. Yeah. Like, I'm hung up on it, but the skin being translucent, like, skin is such a human thing. That becoming less of itself.
Yeah.
Seems like something. I also thought that it is worth noting, and it supports the idea of this being something that's formed from nothing, as much as it being a human, that he's naked. He's not costumed and Pennywised or anything like that. So it could be he's been made from nothing. He's naked. He doesn't have those clothes yet. Or he doesn't have those clothes yet, but was an existing person or something. I don't really know. And then I noticed and thought it was weird that he was interested in the baby and specifically not interested in the kids that she has.
Yeah. See, and that again is where it's like, what are the rules, dude?
Well, if this is from like the 1600s. Like
if you only want babies, well, guess what? The Losers Club is like 12.
Well, it seems like, I think that it's pretty established, like in the book and other things, that he specifically wants kids. He doesn't really want babies.
Right. He wants
kids because they're more easily scared or something. So to that point, I was thinking, actually, a baby isn't like a really primo salted meat thing because they're not really conscious enough to totally understand what's going on. So like they'll obviously cry and be scared and things like that, but you're not going to get the same level, their brain isn't developed, of like psychological fear that it seems like it is after.
True.
So I was wondering if this is kind of like it's very, very primal, like learning and trial and erroring or something like that.
Maybe.
Like he wants a baby because maybe that seems pure or something, and to consume that and ruin it is whatever. But like that's not quite right. You know what I mean?
But that's interesting. Then that scene to me, I think, should be about him like realizing that he wants somebody that can like that's like a very it feels like what we need to see is some sort of a Goldilocks scene. Like this one's too hot, this one's too cold, this one's just right.
Yes.
A mom, a baby, and then sort of like a child.
And then find
of like an older age.
Right, exactly.
You know, like he doesn't want her. He shouldn't want the baby. He should want the boy.
Yeah.
That would make more sense to me.
Yeah, totally.
That also speaks really to the idea of like, offer me a sacrifice and I'll leave you alone.
Yes.
Like all the adults, like, you know, you don't have to worry about me at all. All I want are your children. And I only want them every 27 years. An entire generation of you can grow up. And then I'll just come back and I'll ask for more children. And then a bunch more of you can grow up. And I'll just ask for more children.
Yeah.
So just keep me happy and you'll be fine.
Right.
I also like the idea of looking in the deadlights as transferring you through all the stages of grief to something beyond where there's nothing.
Yes. So I also was thinking that I wonder if it's basically like some form of the deadlights that keep the adults mind controlled and docile.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like maybe it's not as explicit as like looking into embers and they turn into the deadlights, but maybe that's the force that's keeping adults like not really looking into child disappearances and just
Yeah.
allowing these things to happen in Derry. So I thought that scene was interesting. It
I like
also establishes that it is genderless, I think.
Uh-huh.
Like the fact that he cycles through like a woman, a man, a beast, or whatever. Like this is really just a creature.
Yeah, he's nothing. He's
Yeah.
none of these things. He's something completely different.
Yeah.
And I guess at some point he would have to decide to be a clown. He would have to like pick a thing to look like.
Well, that came up in the Stephen King wiki. It was like he decided to be a clown because of kids liking clowns, so you could like lure them in or something like that. But it doesn't totally hold water with me because why is he then like a clown dressed like a farmer? Even when he's a bird,
Yeah.
he's got balloons on him. It seems to me like Pennywise just likes clowns.
I know, and it's weird too because of the idea is like he's smart enough to know that kids like clowns, but
Yeah.
not smart enough to know that a clown in a sewer is really alarming.
Yeah, right. And also,
If he had looked like if he had changed to look like a repairman
yeah,
for that moment when Georgie loses his boat,
yes,
right? And there is some sort of a plumber or a construction worker that's in the sewer. Hi, I'm Bob Gray.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
working on the pipes. Would your balloon come down? Would your boat come down here? Like that would make
yeah, because that's normal in your world. You're
So he's
used to
both
seeing that,
smart-
not a clown in the drain.
He's both smart and dumb.
Yeah.
Pennywise is a bunch of stuff and a bunch of contradictory stuff, and not in a way that makes me like lean in to be like, what
Right,
do
be
you,
like excited and like,
in a way
wow,
that
this
makes
is so
me go
complex.
like, huh? Was this not thought through?
Exactly, it doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally feel the same way. So let's move on to how he finally gets defeated throughout each of the properties that we are familiar with right now.
Great.
And to even go into it at all, I have to try to explain something called the ritual of Chud.
Oh God.
Or Chewed?
Chewed, I think.
I think there's an umlaut involved.
Chewed.
Okay, so the ritual of Chewed. There is a creature that we become aware of so there's a showdown where the Losers Club chases it down to a sewer, and then Bill, who's kind of like the head boss of Losers Club, is psychically communicated with by a creature called, what do you think it is? Maturin? Maturin?
Yeah, I think I've always said Maturin.
Maturin, that's a turtle. He is also from the Macroverse, like it. And basically, they were both created in the Macroverse, and it is like the force of good, and Maturin is like, it is like the force of evil, and Maturin is like the force of good. So there are two halves in this Macroverse. And Maturin communicates to Bill that he needs to enter a psychological battle of wills with it, kind of within the Macroverse. It's taking place psychically, kind of in another universe, and that battle is called the Ritual of Chewed.
Right.
So that plays into pretty much all of the iterations of what happens. So the Losers Club defeats it twice in all these iterations because they meet him
As kids and then as adults.
right. So
Yeah.
they don't fully beat him as kids, but you know what I mean.
They fend him off as
Yeah.
kids.
right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go through book, miniseries, and movie. As children, here's how they do it. In the book, Bill defeats him using the Ritual of Chewed. He goes in, well, not fully, but like
As a
when they're
kid?
children. Yeah. He meets
Oh.
he meets it in the Macroverse. They enter a psychological battle of wills, and he's able to kind of push him back.
Wow.
And then, they get away, they have sex, and then they get right out of the sewer.
But that didn't kill. I thought the Ritual of Chud was what eventually killed him entirely.
Let me see.
That's interesting. Weird.
It is, but they go harder the second time.
Okay.
It becomes a little bit more physical the second time.
Doesn't that feel like it's what you should learn to do it ultimately, rather than like it didn't work the first time, but
It's a little different.
Okay.
We'll get there. In the mini-series, when they're children, they use its ability to warp their imaginations for good. And they kind of do this in the movie as well, a little bit. And I actually think it's very goofy and cartoony, but it's like cool. I think
Yeah.
it's fun. They're like, oh, he can make us imagine things and those things become real. We can use that and make stuff happen to him. So they imagine that Eddie's inhaler is full of acid and then like burn his face with it or
I think
whatever.
the quote is, "This is battery acid, you slime,"
Oh my god.
and then they spray him in the face. That always annoyed me.
Beverly, I think slingshots, right? Beverly slingshots silver bullets at it, since silver bullets in like lore are supposed to have supernatural abilities where they can like kill werewolves and stuff. And because they believe it, it works.
Why not?
That's fine for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Why not imagine?
In the miniseries specifically, for some reason, because that miniseries is so campy and weird. In the miniseries world, that works fine.
Why don't you just pretend and go like, these are 15 rocket launchers? Like, boom!
Yeah, they do
like,
play small.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like if the imagination, what's
Yeah,
to
you may as
stop
well
you?
go really big.
Would that have worked?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess it would have. I mean, maybe you have to. No, I guess it would have.
Why
I
not
don't
just
see
go
why
like,
not.
this is anti-Pennywise spray, you slime?
I don't know. I mean,
You know, battery acid.
yeah, battery acid. I know, you're totally right. In the movie, when they're kids, Pennywise tries to freak them out by presenting himself as Georgie, but but they shoot him because they're like, "You're not Georgie" or whatever. So they like shoot Georgie. Georgie Wise
gun?
Penny.
Or
I
no,
don't
with
know.
that bolt thing. Remember they have like the thing from He Who Am Death or whatever that movie's called. No Country for Old Men.
Oh my God, He Who Am Death.
I couldn't think of it, but
Yeah.
he has that bolt shooter
Yeah,
thing. Don't they have one of those?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. But they shoot him and they see that he just kind of dissipates because he's not Georgie.
Right.
And that kind of breaks the spell where they're like, "You're not anything that you could really hurt us. You're not scary at all." So they kind of breaks the facade of their fear and they just like go ham on him.
I remember
until he retreats.
I remember Finn Wolfhard being like, "You are my friend. I'd do anything for you. And now I'm gonna have to beat this clown to death." And I really enjoyed that. I really, really, really
That's funny.
liked that.
That's really funny. So then their second battle with him where they actually defeat him as adults. Here's what happens. In the book, Bill once again enters into the ritual of Chud. And but this time he makes his way inside its physical body while he's in the Macroverse with him during the ritual of Chud, and he crushes its heart with his hands.
Oh.
So that's what kills it
Oh.
in the book. Then in the mini-series, as adults, Beverly maims it in its spider form with more silver bullets, and then when it's injured, they rip its heart out.
Okay.
So they decide to abandon the ritual of Chud thing, 'cause it's like, because...
This is weird.
Yeah.
Attack him.
Go! But they still go for the heart, kills them. And in the movie, well, we'll just have to see.
Yeah, we will have to see. Who knows?
That's right.
Who knows? Do you think they're going to do the ritual of Chud?
I don't know how they... I don't know.
Is James McAvoy going to talk to a big turtle in the sky?
I really don't know. I mean, they eliminated the ritual of Chud altogether from the first movie, so it makes me think they're probably going to again. But at the same time, you know, maybe they might want to. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't really
don't.
think so.
Yeah.
You think they're going to do the spider thing?
Does that? Let me see. I mean, it seems like the spider thing is throughout all of the forms.
Everything, yeah.
So yeah, I guess I do think that.
I wonder.
I guess so. I mean, I guess they'll go underground to the sewers, and then eventually find that or something like that.
I wonder if they're going to
That
have
also
a big.
feels like a movie set piece thing.
It does. I wonder if they're going to have a big Pennywise with 8 arms. You know, like
Maybe. Yeah.
Is it going to
won't
be
look
a
like
spider, but like it's Pennywise
right
in the center as like the
Yeah.
thorax and head?
Yeah, because it's hard to. I remember when I saw it. I think I saw that before I read the book, like saw the miniseries. I think I was like, what the hell? How is there a spider here? I don't understand what just happened. I think it's hard to get to the spider thing without explaining the macroverse and like maturing and stuff like that.
If you just said like
Maybe.
the clown
Yeah,
is not his true form,
Yeah,
then
that's
you
true.
can just do whatever
That's
you want,
true.
even if you don't explain it.
I really don't know. Maybe.
I remember it being explained in the book that he's not even a spider. That's just the closest that the human mind
Yes.
can make sense of him as.
Yes, it's specifically his true physical form. Like if he is to be a physical thing, his true form is a spider, but like his main existence is with not in the physical realm.
Right. And then I remember it having baby spiders, which made me go like, so he is a spider.
No, they.
You know,
I didn't include it. There was something where they like realized there were eggs or something in the miniseries.
Yes.
I think so. They had to do something about it, but I just left it.
Yeah, and so he is a spider, but no, that's
Yeah.
just what he looks like. But he had baby spiders, so he is
Right,
a
so it
spider.
kind of functions as a spider now.
So
yeah.
we're splitting hairs. He's a spider.
splitting little teeny hairs on gross
teeny
little
tiny
legs.
spider hairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doing spiders a lot the last couple of weeks. Spidergate Cemetery.
Yeah.
Now it.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I frankly don't love a spider.
Groovin'.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious. I've heard also recently that there are a lot of rumors that the director of these two movies wants to make a supercut of both of them that would be 6 hours long, and that would involve shooting material that has not yet been shot.
Really?
Yes, which I find very interesting as sort of like a
right.
Yeah, an unprecedented
Yes,
film
that's totally new.
thing to do. Yeah, like what would that be?
That's cool.
You know,
I wonder if that'll happen. You have to get. There's so many moving pieces that you have to get.
People's
in play for that,
schedules,
right?
budgets. Yeah.
For something that's never been done before, so it's kind of like, well, why?
It's
I'm
untested.
sure for a lot of people.
Where do you put it?
But that's awesome.
I guess you just put that on Netflix.
Right. I love
You
that
know?
as an idea.
Really interesting.
Ooh, I hope
idea.
that happens.
I know.
I would love more things like that. I want
Sure.
more like weird, experimental filmmaking sorts of things and like
Absolutely, yeah.
forms and stuff like that. Like them having that Bandersnatch, like choose your own adventure Netflix thing.
Right.
Like things are just experimental
Yeah,
for the
just
sake
try
of it.
stuff.
Like why not?
Why not?
It's fun and exciting.
There are so many venues for
Right.
these kinds of things now. Like, why not just go for it?
Yeah.
Kristen and I just watched all of Twin Peaks season 3
Yes.
in a single sitting.
Yes.
David Lynch supposedly scripted that with Mark Frost and directed it to be an 18-hour-long movie, and we decided to go for it on Saturday.
Yep.
And it was fascinating.
It really was, and it really felt like that was true.
Yes.
And the case, not just somebody being like, really, this whole thing is meant to be more of a single piece.
Yeah, it wasn't like
And, like,
blowing smoke. It turned out to just be
No.
like, oh yeah, this is all one piece.
There was like one instance of us feeling like something was segmented where they repeated something from a previous episode to catch you up, but only one. Everything else completely felt like it was all one piece. It
Yeah.
was so cool and so good.
Yeah, I would love to see people try stuff like that.
Me too.
And especially with it's something that like I think I have as many problems with as I have things I enjoy about it. And for this to be something to do experimental filmmaking with, I think is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially like, you know, like it was turned into a 2-part miniseries.
Yeah.
It has like all these odd elements of having the children's story and having the adult story.
Yeah.
That is so sort of like novel and different.
Yeah.
The director has also said that he would love to get to do more like It Chapter 3 someday. And he feels
yeah.
like there's a lot in the lore of Pennywise to dig into, whether
Right.
that means a future story somehow or going into the past to show more stuff like that farmer excerpt you read.
When Will and I were geeking out about the trailer a few weeks ago, we also talked about the possibility of there being some sort of prequel. I have a theory that Bill Skarsgård is like a regulation hottie, and I find it odd that they hired him and then have kept him in this makeup that makes him unrecognizable. It makes me think that they're like saving him for a rainy day
Yeah,
to
maybe.
have him as himself in something. So I really wouldn't be surprised if there is some sort of prequel.
I think it would be cool, just like they got all those kid actors and then they got all the adult actors now who look so much like the kid actors, it's crazy.
Yeah, oh my God, I love that. That's one of my favorite things about the trailers, when they switch between the kids and adults. It's insane.
I know. I would love it if we could find elderly actors that look like the adult actors.
Yeah.
And then we could have 3 generations
That is such a cool idea.
and have the entire like human experience on film fighting a monster.
I wish it was a property that I enjoyed more, but I love that idea.
Yeah.
Did you hear about, I think it's Merrily We Roll Along. Did you hear about, so that movie about a boy that was filmed over like 20 years by,
Boyhood.
what's his name?
Richard
Boyhood.
Linklater.
Yeah. So did you hear that they're doing, spanning 20 years, this musical?
I did hear that. I think
That's all
it's-
I got. I don't know
yeah.
anything else about it. But I think it's cool.
It's cool. I think it's cool in like concept, but like to me, like film has kind of been doing that for a long time. You know, not all in a single movie, which I think that is interesting. But
Yeah.
like, I mean, so a couple things. Honestly, we were just talking about having watched Twin Peaks. In Twin Peaks, the season 2 of Twin Peaks back in 1991, they say, "We'll see you again in 25 years."
Yeah.
And then they did. They
Yeah.
came back and they did more. And
I
a
lost
lot of
my
the
mind.
performers had passed away in between. A lot of the performers that are in season 3 passed away right after they finished filming. It was very lucky.
Yes. Big
So
time.
I think there's something about setting out now and being like, I'm going to make something that's going to take 20 years to make. That's both ambitious and like really tempting fate.
It definitely is.
And I'm so intrigued by film where you can say in Twin Peaks flashback to the characters when they were younger, and now it makes you realize, like, oh my gosh, these characters have always been here.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't believe how long I've been watching them.
Right.
In Harry Potter, they use the fact that those kids grew up on film
Yes.
to have, like, Voldemort give Harry Potter a flashback to, like, his friends when he was a kid, and it was
Yeah.
all emotional and stuff. And as a viewer, it's emotional because you're like, oh my god, Daniel Radcliffe when he was 11
Right.
versus Daniel Radcliffe when he's 16 now. I can't believe this. So I feel like film has
We've
already
seen it happen.
film and television have been doing that. I think it's ambitious and kind of foolhardy, and I don't know. There's something about it that just feels like it just gives me an ick factor of like this could go wrong.
It could, but like, you know, I don't think it's worth not executing an idea because of that. You know
That's
what I
true,
mean? Like,
yeah.
might as well try.
Sure,
If
I
something goes
guess.
wrong, it goes wrong. But like, I think it's a sweet idea.
Yeah.
I remember I saw Boyhood. I don't think I liked it that much. I don't really remember, but I love the idea of it. I think that is so interesting.
It is a cool idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would love more ideas like this, combining movies, like wacko ideas. I'm all about it.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you know what was a wacko idea that two kids had a couple of years ago? Guide to the Unknown. And guess what? We did it again, gang.
Yeah. You've
We're
seen
at the
us.
end of another episode.
You've seen us grow up on film.
Yeah, you truly have.
We've changed so much.
We've changed.
Over
My
the
hair got
years.
longer. That's pretty much it.
Mine didn't.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I probably have less hair.
Probably.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
because the passage of time.
Exactly. But boy, it's so emotional.
Yeah.
You know what? I need to go calm down
Yeah.
from this. So why don't we get out of here?
Need to go get a hanky.
Thank you all so much for hanging out with us. We hope you learned a thing or two about Pennywise the Dancing Clown, also known as Bob Gray. Go check out It Chapter 2. I think I'm going to
Yeah.
try to see it soon.
Yeah.
I don't know when.
I'm going to see it on Monday.
No, check it out. And yeah, you can check out all the other Guide to the Unknown stuff we've got going on online. You can
That's right.
follow at GTTUpod on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram to stay tuned to our spooky world throughout the week. You can go check out patreon.com/GTTUpod if you'd like to donate a little something back to us just for your enjoyment of the show. Kristen and I recently played the brand new Blair Witch game,
Yep.
a video game that was released for PC and Xbox. You can go watch our playthrough of the first half on youtube.com/talkbomb. I then finished the game alone. Chrissy bailed.
Yeah.
She had enough. But so go check out that out. That's just like a fun thing we did on
Yeah,
the side.
why not? Yeah.
And go check out our become part of the secret society over on facebook.com/groups/GTTUpod so that you
right.
can talk with other people who watch or listen to the show, make some connections, have some fun.
Yeah.
Go to propstore.com to see some of these awesome movie memorabilia, like
Yeah.
images and backgrounds and stuff, and check out this book itself. And you can also talk to Kristen and I individually online.
That's right. I'm at Chillin' Kristen on Instagram and Twitter.
I am at The Myth Traveler.
And also, if you're listening to this the day that comes out, I just did my monthly show, Dearly Departed Pop, last night on youtube.com/talkbomb. So you can go check out the replay there where I talked about the reality show from 2013, Who Done It, and I'm sure we had a great time.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, Dearly Departed Pop.
Yeah,
At Dearly Departed Pop.
that's right.
All right, everybody. We will see you next week for more spooky, scary stuff from across the Macroverse. But until that time comes, we must travel.
Into the Macroverse go we. Ugh.
Ew.
It's stickier in here than I would have thought.
Ew. Oh, ew.
Bye.
Gross.
Gross.
There you go, everybody. There you go.
There it is.
I think I've got a couple of seconds here.
Cool.
What about the scene in the remake when the headless boy is chasing after Ben, Paloma asks. Was that Pennywise taking the form of the headless boy, or was that just an apparition he created to scare Ben? I mean, that's an interesting question.
I don't remember.
I feel like it's usually Pennywise doing stuff, right?
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't think that he makes stuff. He either, like, seems to, like, mind warp people, or he's running around trying to scare you.
Yeah. So I think he probably turned into something without a head.
I would think so.
That's kind of his deal.
I would think that, yeah, that would be my feeling.
Yeah. Blah-ba-ba.
Yeah.
Cool.
Diana says,
Yep.
I was like, oh crap, I missed Dearly Departed Pop. I forgot that they were recording. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it hasn't happened yet. Tomorrow, At what time?
That's right, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Tomorrow at 7, right here, youtube.com/talkbomb.
Mm-hmm.
Coming out with Chrissy.
Yeah.
Diana says Blair Witch was blah. I don't disagree.
Yeah, not for me.
No. Nor me.
Yeah.
All right, everybody.
All right, dudes.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Yeah. Hope you enjoyed.
That was fun. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll I'll tell you about this later. All right, everybody. Catch you later.
All
Have a
right.
good rest of your night. We'll see you soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.